For the past year, when someone would inquire for a duty rate one day, it would already be changing the day after. And with the new Supreme Court ruling on February 20th, the morning of this recording, apparently so do the laws governing duties. Since our last episode, one thing has changed, while another remains true. The court ruled that this administration cannot use IEEPA to impose tariffs. But as we said before, the tariff landscape will never be the same. For now, it remains true that tariff rules can shift between project planning and shipment arrival. One miscalculation can still drain your cash flow before your cargo even clears port. The world of logistics used to be slow, it used to be reliable and certain. Now, not so much. On this episode of Tarrific Talk, we have with us back again Monika Carr, owner and licensed customs broker of All Borders Inc. Monika, welcome back.
Hi, John. I'm terrified to be here today, but we'll get into that in this week's episode.
We'll get into it. We've been terrified with the news this morning, but both in a good sense and in a bad sense. But
I think mostly bad.
Mostly bad. Well, listen, I always have to say it. If you were terrified of tariffs before, don't be. Stay strong, y'all. You'll be terrific and tougher in trade tomorrow. Once again, welcome back to yet another episode of Tarrific Talk. So, Monika, in our last episode, we spoke about how importers need to be aware that changes can happen at the drop of a hat. True to that statement, the Supreme Court ruled that the tariffs that have been giving headaches to her, to importers, to customs brokers, and consumers like you, despite this news, what advice do you have to give in light of it?
I am relieved with the Supreme Court ruling. It's giving me a glimpse of hope that I have not felt in this past couple of months. But I don't think that importers should count their chickens before they hatch.
And why do you say that?
Look, I believe that importing should be efficient to ensure a strong U.S. economy, but we are not going to go back to the way that we used to import in the past. That's just the reality. Firstly, my industry has yet to know what the refunds entail. Secondly, despite the ruling, there are still going to be unforeseen obstacles as other details come into play. Importers should always take the fast news cycle with a grain of salt.
So that begs the question, though. For businesses in the project planning stages, what is something a client of a customs broker's or a client of yours should know when getting quotes for duty rates still?
Importers should know that project planning at this moment kind of is non-existent. When I provide customs clearance quote, it comes with an asterisk. It's accurate today, but tomorrow, maybe not so much. We still have tariffs changing, trade rules are being updated, and duty rates are constantly shifting. So we're in a trade environment where cost certainty is no longer guaranteed. And so what does that mean for importers? It means that you need to build flexibility into pricing as financial control mechanism, not a profit grab. And you have to maintain a strong cash flow and plan for volatility. So manufacturing and sourcing can take months, but by the time your goods are ready to ship and the regulatory landscape might not look the same. And additionally, do not make business decisions under the assumption that whatever cost you incur now will come with a refund down the line. We still don't know. So if you're importing into the US, you need to have a customs broker that is watching these changes daily. And in this environment, the flexibility is not an option, it's survival.
So the Supreme Court basically made a ruling that said, yes, these things weren't legal, they weren't true. It's a mess, but figure it out.
And that is why I'm terrified.
What strategies can you recommend to importers under this new tariff landscape?
So it's been several months now with high reciprocal tariffs, and it's definitely taken a toll on businesses' cash flow. And since we're not sure when the IEEPA tariffs will end, I have been recommending that importers put their cargo in a bonded warehouse. This has allowed them to withdraw the goods as needed, and they have only been paying the duties at the time of withdrawal for consumption. So think of it kind of like Klarna, where you buy now and pay later.
So it's almost like an importer's version of a business line of credit, only when, you only pay the duties when it's withdrawn from the warehouse and duties are owed and there's like no interest.
That's a great comparison. And when changes happened back in February of 2025, I recommended to all my freight forwarder clients that they should take the steps in becoming a bonded warehouse, because importers just cannot be in the position to be hopeful that things will go back to how they were in the past. They just have to adapt to what the new normal is, and a bonded warehouse can make that process easier.
So one would expect that a lot of people are going to be coming to people like you and other customs brokers for help. However, are there any other points that you would like to make regarding the scope of a customs broker's work moving forward?
There are different levels of custom brokerage firms. In today's environment, where tariff rulings shift, refund details are very unclear, and compliance risks are higher than ever, the scope of what your customs broker can do really matters. Some brokers handle last mile delivery, managing your shipment from the port to the warehouse. Some are part of large all-in-one logistics companies where the freight forwarder has an in-house broker, and that model can streamline communication under one roof. And then there are independent brokers like myself who can focus purely on customs clearance, and that allows me to work closely with importers and freight forwarders and can offer a more personalized one-on-one service.
So for those of us that are watching, that's All Borders Inc. Isn't that right, Monika?
Exactly. So my business, I can offer a direct line of communication. You're not just a number, and you have my number. But none of these models are automatically better than the other. The key to finding a customs broker is alignment.
So to recap, though this administration may not be able to use IEEPA to impose tariffs, the volatility is not disappearing. It's simply evolving. This isn't just about one ruling. It's about adapting to trade environments that will likely remain dynamic for years to come. So a huge thank you to Monika Carr. Thank you, Monika, for once again joining us on another episode here representing All Borders Inc.
Thank you for making me do this again. It has not become any easier, but we really do appreciate the engagement. Please comment. Let us know what topics you would like for us to discuss in the next episode. It really does give us ideas to keep on going.
If you found this episode helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anybody navigating today's tariff maze. Drop your questions in the comments, and we're here to keep the conversation going. This was Jonathan signing off, and until next time, stay sharp, stay compliant, stay terrific. If you were terrified of tariffs before, don't be. You'll be tougher in trade tomorrow. We'll see you at the next episode of Tarrific Talk.